An inmendham video. I hope. See how it goes. Still having trouble with these settings on Linux, but anyway, I'll have to deal with it. So, The Amazing Atheist, somebody linked me to a video, so I did watch it, where he's talking about Jordan Peterson. And basically his gripe with Peterson is that Peterson is he's very intelligent, yet he has some dumb notion that there's something useful in giving people advice. Now, I'd argue that Peterson's advice is just how to be a good Borgite, which makes it, pukable as something called intelligence. It's just social, a nonsensical notion that social cohesion is the only thing that matters, and the only thing that matters is that human beings find some dopey way to read their fairy tales and live their pretend lives. Just keep being a fake. Quit not admitting when you think you're a squirrel, and you want to have sex with other squirrels. Quit admitting that when it happens. Or quit admitting that you find life completely meaningless and, you just toil like you're a bunch of fucking idiotic elves at your stupid tree factory, and you're sort of saying this all looks like a cartoon. It's beneath my intelligent dignity to be obligated to play this hopscotch forever, or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, there's a huge amount of stuff to dislike Peterson's advice, or his notions of what living a good life is, his notion of what has value, or what the word productivity means or something, because he's got some kind of Republican notion of it. You're just supposed to be a nice cog that keeps the rich man's lawn manicured and his fence properly straight, and everything in order, so he can sit at his table and drink imported tea or whatever. He's just somebody trying to gear you all up to be one of these little robots. And especially if you're a woman, your role is really secondary. You're supposed to help make your man the man. You see, you need to polish him properly, so he can go about the business of being a really important Borg member. All right, so anyway, Peterson is repulsive, okay, and his advice is repulsive. But this idiotic counter-argument of the amazing atheist, which is some kind of notion that I am accountable to nothing. I don't even have to pretend to accept the facts of life in any sense at all. Like, this is a team sport in a sense. There's team asshole and team not a fucking asshole. He doesn't even get that part. Then that the game it's not an individual player kind of game. We're not playing some it's just you and a bunch of synthetic stuff, all right, of no consequence. No, it's you and the welfare of a whole bunch of consequential feeling things. Not only the human part that you have to accept, yes, their welfare is just as important as yours. Their happiness is just as important, just as real, just as big as your happiness. That's just being rational, by the way, just minimally rational. Right, so these people would call each other intelligent, and they can't even figure that shit out. So TJ doesn't really make any critiques of Peterson. He does this caricature like he's two-faced, because he's really is the authoritarian lawmaker come to get you, when he's not really for all that. He's for people being better people, but and there's nothing really wrong with that, except his definition of a better person is retarded. His notion of a better person is being some frickin' mannequin. He looks like a mannequin. He talks like a mannequin. He's trying to make you into a mannequin. He's trying to make you into a placeholder for a human being. Something that looks like a human being, but really isn't anything like a human being, like anything real in any sense. except in the sense that, well, we all know that women and queers are inferior, except for that notion. He doesn't think we should do any animalistic thinking. It's all bad except for our desire to beat up women. No, wait a minute, I don't have that desire. Except for our desire to rape women. Oh, I don't have that desire. Except for my desire to impregnate women. No, I don't want to do that either. I mean, he is so traditionalistic, and it's just a new form of religion. It's all the shit of religion. I mean, the silly stuff like, don't look at Noah's naked penis or you'll go to hell. It's all the silly parts of religion without even the silly God shit. I mean, there's probably a metaphorical comparison. I mean, it's like Goofy without Dopey. It's like Quick Draw McGraw without Baba Louie. Or maybe it's like Baba Louie without Quick Draw McGraw, right? I mean, the Baba Louie show? I mean, come on. That ain't going anywhere. All right. So anyway, so then TJ, in TJ's style, of course, is just, he's written himself a big pile of mush, and he's going to do his art. I mean, there's a sort of a performance art. I'm going to read my written text and be all freaking, and all emphasized, right? Ooh, yeah, I got him right there. This whole constructed theatrics. It's just like, it's kind of like watching the Madonna movie, when Madonna made that movie and she just completely exposed herself as just a complete cunt. I mean, just, like somebody had to polish the dirt around her or something. I mean, just so out of control. And she thought that was going to make her look cool. Anyway. But I guess like I said, this works for TJ because his audience is 11-year-old, so he's like their big brother, big fat dopey old brother, or something like that. Anyway, so on to the fun. So I'm just trying to say there was nothing in the first half of the video, the first 3/4 of the video. Really wasn't an argument here. It was just this argument about, that somehow people who see the idea of there being problems that can be solved are silly, because the real thing to realize is that it isn't about any of that reality. There's no world, there's no welfares involved, there's just you and what's in it for you, and that's the only thing you have to worry about is your you agenda. So the only time a law is important is when it affects you, that kind of thing. And so Peterson has got some notion that there is a bigger game we're playing. And again, my objection is the game he thinks we should be playing is the silly, whatever, 1742 game. And it's like so old and clunky. It's like made out of wood. I mean, it's a game that's just so archaic and stupid. I mean, it's wooden cutlery or something. I mean, it's wooden forks and spoons, or it's just, ew. I'm not doing that. I'm not living in your archaic world where people are just pretending to be alive. Fuck that. So again, I can't even explain I believe I have more contempt for Peterson than TJ does. Because, yes, he is this false messiah with this false advice. You're better off taking the advice of Benjamin Franklin. Okay, look up some Benjamin Franklinisms. Like a penny earned is a penny saved. I mean, a penny saved is a penny earned. Good stuff. Apple a day keeps the doctor away. This is some good stuff. I mean, Peterson's mush, clean your room, stand up straight. That stuff isn't going to get you anywhere in reality. That's not how to play a good game, to worry about stuff that's totally unimportant. Oh, there's some dust bunnies under my bed. Let's all get hysterical and spend 5 or 6 hours sanitizing a place I never look, I never go, I never even wonder about. Why should I do that? totally irrelevant to anything meaningful in life. But yes, make sure you have that in order. Put your flashlight in the proper flashlight place. There. Flashlight place. Stay in the flashlight place. Nothing out of... Everything should be in its place. You know, because that order somehow... You know, somehow having everything organized will somehow mean it's meaningful. And it won't. It really won't get to the core of anything. It really won't get to the core of why human beings are such a fucking mess. Because they don't understand the kind of animal they are. And it's like a zookeeper. It's like a zookeeper putting the zebras in the polar bear, you know, exhibit. He's just not getting out. It's a zebra. It doesn't like ice, and it doesn't like swimming all that much. You know, no, zebras don't belong in there. So it's stupid. These idiots don't know what a human being is. He's a fucking, you know, eccentric monkey, right? And he'd just rather, you know, jerk off on you. I mean, as to play this pretentious game of, oh yes, you're the proper people, and I'm an improper person. I'm on the wrong side of a railroad track. Therefore, you know, I have to be subservient to you authorities. You know, that kind of crap. Fuck that shit. Anyway, role-playing. 200-year-old wooden role-playing. Puke. Alright, so again, just emphasizing. I fucking hate Jordan, whatever he is. I mean, he just seems like a... I mean, I hate to insult women. He's just a fucking woman. You know, talking about, you know, yeah, it's just so ironic. You know, it's like one of those Lincoln Republican thingies. You know, the gay guys voting for, you know, yes, let's torture the gays because it's kinky and fun. Yeah, everybody be anti-gay because, you know, I like that because, you know, I'm a submissive. I mean, it seems like some kind of perversion. This guy speaking up for some sort of, you know, pull your boots up. You pull up your fascist, you know, tie your tie. I mean, his advice is such puke. Ugh. Shit. Anyway, all right. So to the TJ funny parts.
Media outlet to push an SJW agenda, the ideas championed by social justice warriors have, by and large, not caught on.
Well, I don't even know what that means, that they haven't caught on, in that we have all kinds of laws now, you know, where you can't even, you know, you can't even brush up against a senior citizen too aggressively, you know, without going to jail for 10 years. I mean, we have some insane legislation, so they've obviously, you know, gained an awful lot of empathy and sympathy for, you know, some really silly notions of what bullying is and what how much social intervention there should be in every single element of our interactions with each other. You know, like we should actually have a lawyer every single time we're talking to somebody. You know, it's just so bad. So that's kind of just bullshit that, you know, they, you know, again, I'm not against the idea of a social justice warrior, just as I'm not against the, you know, the point is we should be able to defeat them with reasoning, not just mockery. You should actually be able to make an argument about why it's insane expectations some of them have. You know, that all men cut off their penises or something. It's an insane expectation. You know, and they're such fanatics. You know, there's, you know, it's this society of scapegoats. Everything's, they scapegoat everything. Oh, it's those cigarettes. Yes, nicotine addiction. So let's be obsessed with that. And it's all to the advantage, of course, of the rich, because, you know, it's this transfer of wealth. You know, tax the poor cigarette smokers so the rich can get a tax break. But all these simpletons don't even understand that they're just being tools for the agenda of the rich. It's now the rich have actually convinced a bunch of liberals that deficit spending makes sense, that borrowing money from rich people, okay, to buy yourself a life now and then forcing your kids to pay for it later over time, which means they pay 10 times as much for it, that makes sense somehow. And these idiots have been just totally duped, and that's what most of these SJWs are. They're just dupes for an agenda that's exactly the antithesis of what they think they're defending. Stupid.
With the general populace. Peterson's adherents are different than religious folks and SJWs. They're not stodgy.
Well, yeah, they are. Okay, so yeah, they're not stodgy. Yeah, they're pretty. It seems pretty stodgy to me, TJ. I don't know how you can say they're not stodgy. If somebody walks up to you and says, "Clean your room," and you don't smell the stodge, you know, you're way. I don't know. You're just don't get the word stodge. And if they sit there and say, "Sit up straight," you know, that's rule number 2. You know. And that somehow that's going to, oh yeah, that makes all the difference. I stood up straight. Yeah, it makes my penis stick out a little more. Okay, I can go with that. I mean, what the fuck? That sounds pretty stodgy. Yeah.
Clinging to his ideas out of a sense of dying obligation, as religious devotees are. Nor are they just completely...
Well, and TJ knows. I mean, he even says in this video and earlier, I think, that, you know, the religious people are just fakers anyway. They don't really believe in any of this shit. And that we know that most of them, okay, the whole religious thing is just a rebellion against pornography and free love and sex, because they're not getting any. They resent other people getting any. That's the whole reason why they belong to the frickin' religion anyway. It's because they don't like other people to have anything they don't have. And that's it. It's petty resentment. That's all religion is. Resentment.
Buffoonish idiots like SJWs are. Peterson's adherents are people who feel as if they are hopelessly adrift in a sea of existential nihilism, who feel that...
Right, so they adrift in nihilism, which couldn't be a better place to be. I mean, isn't that basically just saying I'm on the good ship Lollipop? I mean... If you're going to go with this idea that there's nothing to worry about, there's nothing to be concerned with, there's no welfares at stake, there's global warming, who cares, I'll be dead by then. I mean, you know, yeah, spend the money now, debt, who cares, I can die and I won't have to pay it back. I mean, you know, this nihilism thing can just only work to your advantage. So clearly these aren't people who are having some sort of existential problem with nihilism. They're having an existential problem with the fact that, oh yeah, diversity sucks, but nobody wants to admit it. You know, and that you know, they're the world, a comfortable, simple world, okay, where everybody behaves like you and everybody smells like you and everybody kind of looks like you and everybody drives the kind of, you know, you're all playing the same game. Okay, that's what they want. They want a world where we're all playing Monopoly. Nobody's playing Sorry while you're playing Monopoly. Nobody's trying to play Chinese checkers on the same board you're playing Monopoly. You just want to play one game. And you don't want all this other crap in your game because you don't know how to play any of those games. And that's their crisis. So their crisis isn't existential, and it doesn't have anything to do with them being nihilists. It has to do with them that the world isn't simple anymore, and they don't like it. It's unpleasant to have to try to navigate because there's so much waste. This diversity thing creates so much wasted time. Well, we have to pass laws against things that everybody knows should be illegal. I have some asshole calling me, trying to fool me into giving them all my money because they're Windows or you know. I mean, we shouldn't be living in this slop. We're living in this sloppy, dirty, stinking world. And, you know, TJ just says, it's okay. Just learn how to eat ass. Okay? Just learn how to like the smell of poo. Okay? You know, start, like, eating your own shit or something. And then you'll find it okay. Or something like that. Or TJ's basically saying, look, I'm not playing any game. All I'm playing is, yes, me game. And that's it. So just simplify the game, and then it doesn't matter what the game is, because the only mission is going to be my piece big, their piece little. My piece moves, their piece goes to fucking hell. My piece goes all over the board, and all the money comes to me. fuck them. Ethical, unethical, who the fuck cares? Fool them, dupe them, doesn't matter. Yeah, that's a really easy game to play then. But for people who don't share TJ's complete ignorance of the fact that he's in a human game with other humans, and then in a game with all these sentient animals also, for idiots, but they're not idiots. So yes, the Peterson people aren't as dumb as TJ, so they know something's wrong, and they want somebody to fix it. And the fix is to somehow go backward, to some traditional world, where the Mexicans are in Mexico, okay, the women are in the kitchen and barefoot and pregnant and subservient and stupid and ignorant, and uneducated, and you walk around as an owner. And so, yeah, that has some appeal to immature humans.
Life had no purpose until they were passionately moved by Peterson and his ideas. Religious people believe...
again, I don't see who's doing that. I don't know if these are... I don't know, if you put a bunch of these Peterson people who have been, oh, this is so meaningful and so profound, if you took those people and put them in a stadium or something where you could analyze them, I think they're all going to be girly men. I don't know how the fuck this guy could be appealing to anybody with testicles. Sorry, I don't get it. He's a nerd. Like not even a techno nerd. He's just a nerd. He's a pussy. Talking about being a man, growing up, and he's a fucking pussy. He's completely owned by his fears.
Out of fear and obligation, SJWs believe whatever emotionally caters to their endless sense of entitlement. Peterson's acolytes believe in his message for
Yeah, I don't know if entitlement's the right word, but they do seem to sense that they have a right to change things that can't be changed. That they can just say, it's too sunny today. Could somebody turn the sun down? It's silly expectations of what can be fixed and what can be fixed. Just insane notions that they can neuter men and they'll still be called men. No.
Reasons that are far more pure. They possess a genuine passion and desire to save not only themselves, but the world. Save it from what?
Oh, God. So amazing statement, right? Save it from what? Because everything is just going just fine. I mean, there's no threat here. We have Donald Trump as president. Vladimir Putin. We have totally rational and capable and smart people in control. How could anybody think there's any crisis here? We have an election where a compulsive liar is running against a compulsive liar. Huh? Oh, there's no problem. Everything's just great.
You might ask. Well, from chaos, of course. The chaos of nihilism, postmodernism, atheism, skepticism, empiricism.
Okay, so this is all just such bullshit, right? Because the world has been in crisis forever, in a lot of senses. It's had different enemies throughout history. Okay, disease was a real problem, cholera, black plague, lots of things were killing people. Lots of threats to your ability to be comfortable. Anything, all kinds of things that could take you out, that threaten your welfare, your comfort, your peace of mind, your happiness, whatever you can acquire of that, threaten you. So the threats have changed, but we've always been under threat. We've always been under siege as human beings by a world, a universe that isn't a nice caretaker. It isn't a friendly zookeeper. It's a very unfriendly, quite capable of harming you dramatically and catastrophically at any moment. It can just drop airplanes on you. It can drop serial killers on you. It can do, at any moment you're subjected to, oh shit, I have a brain tumor growing in my head. This is a place where angst and concern is perfectly rational. And people like TJ are the ones pretending. Well, no, just be really ignorant. I mean, be the the poster child for idiocracy, and just pretend it's all going to be all right. It's okay. You know, eat your shit and enjoy it, because it doesn't matter somehow. And it especially doesn't matter if you steal the shit from somebody else. And it doesn't matter if you run over the shit. And it doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter what you do to facilitate and accomplish the task of figuring out what's in it for you and grabbing it.
Materialism, or whatever word or words you want to use to encompass your negative feelings about the detached jadedness and divisiveness of our times. And so my usual wheel...
Right, so it doesn't bother TJ, because he's a nihilist, you see, so it doesn't bother him somehow that we live in these times, that this is beneath the dignity of intelligent organisms to live in these times. And so people shouldn't be looking for some way to say, well, why can't we do what they did in the past? I mean, look, people had that whole, you know, stock market crash and the Great Depression, and what did they do? Oh, yeah, they didn't just talk about standing up straight, you know, and cleaning their room. No, they built Hoover dams and did shit. You know, they won world wars and crap. Not that we should ever have to do that kind of shit again. But, I mean, you know, let's fix it. Yeah, let's do that.
House of deconstruction and mockery will have to take a back seat on this journey. Jordan Peterson is forcing me to do something I've long toyed with the idea of, but never actually attempted. For my entire career, I have shared with you many of my thoughts, but rarely have I let you into my thought process.
Whatever that means, right? His thought process when, you know, he was doing the fake charity thing, you know, his thought process when he's taking in a bunch of money for a court case there never was, you know, his thought process with all the little shenanigans and bullshit through which he has, you know, financed his fat ass crack life.
I have conducted myself by a very particular philosophy.
Yes, a very particular philosophy that can be outlined by, you know, a 3-year-old connecting the dots, you know, which connect to write the word me. You know, so what the hell? Philosophy of meanness. Yes, me real. You all fake. You know, world fake. Me important. Rest of the world nothing. Yeah, that's a philosophy. Sure it is.
But it is a philosophy that I've never elucidated directly.
I think you have. I think you've pointed out more than once that you're just a selfish taker, and a little rape is okay. So what? What's the big deal? A little molestation here and there. What's the big deal? No problem. As long as it makes me happy and potentially damages somebody else forever, who cares? Yeah, and that goes for eating meat and being gratuitous about it. Oh, the suffering makes it taste better. Oh, yeah, I'm just joking, but, you know, it not really, because I couldn't give a fuck, quite obviously.
And that must now change. Peterson has laid out an architecture for how you should be. He's
right, and it's childish. You know, it's such rubbish. I mean, you could do simple things like I think advice is very good. I mean, people who learn through life, like take care of your teeth. You know, it's really important. And you know, even if you go crazy, even if you have all kinds of problems, take care of your teeth, because if you accidentally live longer than you think you're going to live, you're going to need them. And when they go bad, they can go bad in all kinds of nasty ways. So yeah, take care of your teeth. You know, don't get fat. Yeah, you know, if you can avoid it, don't get fat. And if you get a little bit fat, start worrying about it. Do something about it. Don't let it get out of control. Don't let it get so bad that the road back is just too long and you'll never march it ever again. You know, don't let things get out of control. Yeah, that's kind of a good one, right? Don't let the thing get too hot and start smoking, because yeah, once it burns up, then you can't use it anymore. It's broken for good. So, yeah, sometimes, you know. But, I mean, you could make it even simpler. I mean, we live in a world where we know this thing called waste can happen. Don't waste. If you can avoid wasting, if you see, like, oh, I'm about to waste, say, hey, next time I'm not going to do that, because that creates waste, and waste isn't a good thing. Moderation. I mean, you can make lots of little statements about how to live as a decent human being, how to be a little bit respectful, and appreciate that your interests aren't the only interests. I mean, is that a profound philosophical statement? Your interests aren't the only interests. This shouldn't even have to be spoken as words, but apparently it does have to be spoken.
Offered you a lens through which to view your reality. He has given you a philosophy not only in the academic sense, but in the colloquial sense as well. And so anyone...
I don't even know how it's in an academic sense. I mean, it is so simplistic. Eat your vegetables. You know, wash behind your ears. I mean, how could this be? This is complete useless tripe. This whatever that is. It's nothing. How does that save you from the realization that your parents were way too stupid to have kids? How's it going to save you from that understanding?
Who truly wants to defeat Peterson must begin by doing as Peterson has done, by laying all of their cards on the table. He has given people a way of...
I bet you this guy hasn't come close to laying his cards on the table. I bet he's got a closet full of fucking dresses, you know, and drawers full of pantyhose. So, you know, you can say he's got his cards on the table. I say bullshit to that. This guy can't possibly think he's really cool. No. He's a winner. No.
Seeing the world, and it is not sufficient to simply say to them, that way of seeing the world is wrong. You must give them a different way to see it. And that's exactly what I will henceforth be endeavoring.
Oh, cool. So, yes, that's very good. Very good. Very good. Let me, go ahead. Give us a way of seeing the world that is, in your opinion, what a rational intelligence should do. We have a world full of all this stuff at stake. The future is a huge, giant thing full of lots and lots of generations, lots of people, lots of stakes. We're the foundation for that future. We're basically the immature version. You know, the present is just a very small and kind of fetal piece of reality. And if we can teach it how to play the piano, then it plays the piano forever, right? You know, we can cure a disease now. We can prevent tons and tons of, you know, no Band-Aids have to be made. None of all that industry doesn't have to be wasted. You know, little things we do now can create huge benefits in the future. Is that going to be part of your insight? Yeah, probably not. Because you're really fucking dumb. I mean, as much as you think you're really, really smart. No, you have to be really fucking dumb not to be able to figure out the simplest things like, yes, okay, I'm addicted to eating animal flesh. It's just an addiction. It would have been better if I could be satisfied with the alternatives, which millions of people on Earth are satisfied doing, billions. So it's completely doable. And then I don't have to pay people to do things to animals that I couldn't do. But maybe TJ could. You know, we really don't understand. I mean, he is a sadomasochist. Maybe he would get off on tearing one of his dog's legs off. You know, watching it squeal and squirm and yell and cry. Maybe that would turn him on. You know, squish the cat until the guts pop out of its mouth. You know, maybe that would turn him on. I wonder if he's going to get real about any of that crap. Because that's the only way you can sit there and be so irrational. You know, call yourself an intelligence or an intellectual, and you're too stupid to figure out that, yeah, this behavior, concede that, okay, admit you're an addict, admit, just like you can admit you're fat, right? You could say, yeah, I'm fat. It would really be cool if I had taken the time to be a little more disciplined, take care of my body, you know, and I could have a healthier, you know, more useful body. That would probably be the right thing to do. And so, yeah, I probably made some mistakes, ended up just being fat. You can't even admit that shit, and you're going to talk about how you're going to be a real person. You're going to give people something real, and you're just going to make rationalizations for being a fat, ass-cracked, shit-talking excuse maker. Fuck, rationalizer. Your life is made out of just rationalizations. That's all your philosophy is rationalizations for defending things that are fundamentally indefensible. Eating all the food on the lifeboat. I mean, you're just a pig. Continuing.
To do in however many videos or chapters it takes. This video represents the introduction of an audiobook that I will be releasing bit by bit to YouTube and other platforms as time allows.
Yes, for money, no doubt, because, you know, these are all important insights he's going to reveal, and it's, you know, such value. The intellectual capital is so valuable. You know, it's got to be rewarded for the you know, time and intense effort of coming up with silly rationalizations and excuses for just being a fat, selfish, glib cunt.